Hey, this is Matthew, and today I'm talking about something I hear a lot from people, which is that personal development should be fun, easy, quick, and fast. And that's just not my experience at all. So today I want to talk a bit about that and about how to think about personal development, like a bit of a framework that you can use to think about it. If you're new here, my name is Matthew, and my goal is to spark you to think differently so you can create new possibilities for yourself in your life. So when we think about personal development, the way that I like to think about it is that we're moving from one person to another person. We're moving from who I am now to who I want to be, or closer to someone else. And the reason that this is not a seamless, easy journey necessarily is because to change from someone to someone else, there is this shift that has to happen, and I have to be willing to look at myself. I have to be willing to give up the things I think I know about myself, and I have to be willing to face some of the uncomfortable truths about my life and about the things I've done before. And that's really tough sometimes and unpleasant. There's a number of ways people get into personal development to start with, and one of them is that life is just so painful that they need to do it in order to get by. And that's probably the most common one, and that's associated with like midlife crises and that kind of thing. Another one, which is was more my case, was that I was forced by my parents to do, in my case, a Rite of Passage camp when I was 15. I'm so grateful for being made to do it, but it's not something I would have chosen on my own. And the third one that's most common is around wanting to discover who I am, this sort of deep, dark question of who am I, what am I here for, like what's life all about? So people come to it in one of these orientations, and no one normally sits down with people when they first start out on the journey and say, hey, this is what a journey looks like. This is how you change from being one person to another person. In the standard Rite of Passage model, which basically applies to any sort of personal change, so you start out as one person, you have an ordeal, you have an unpleasant experience, you have something that you have to go through, you have to make it, you have to survive it, and then once you've survived it, then you can come out the other side as this new person. The other way you can think of it is that you have a certain set of ways of being in the world. I train in the psychodrama worldview, and so we would call those roles. We have a certain number of roles or ways of being in the world. Some of those serve us, and some of those don't serve us. And some of them we use too much, and some of them we don't use at all, and some of them we don't have at all. And so this way of looking at it is that I start off with some types of roles, some ways of being in the world, and I go through a process of inventing or creating new ones. And then I have these new set of ways of being, but I have to integrate those. I have to let them grow. I have to foster them. I have to nurture those ways of being so that I can live into them. And a lot of that kind of methodology is around how do we do role training? How do you learn to be the person that you want to be? Because it's one thing to do a course and someone says, oh, when this happens, do this. And it's a totally other thing to be in a situation that's confronting in some way and be able to have additional responses that you can use that react differently. And I think because of the sort of social media aspect of personal development, people want to say, well, all you need to do is follow my ebook, do my little program, and life will be better in some way. That can work for certain things mentally, but a lot of other things require dedication, they require hard work. It's kind of like going to the gym. You're not going to get from having no muscle at all to really muscly by reading about the gym, by talking about the gym. You actually have to go and do the hard work, do the exercise, eat the right food, and make it happen. And it's a long, gradual process. With meditation, for example, there's this, people want to shortcut it to, what thing can we trigger in the brain to get people to have enlightenment experiences or transformational experiences? When the reality is you can get those type of experiences and those realizations that come with that, but only by putting in the hours and days and weeks of work to actually get there. With any kind of personal development, it's always like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You can make lots of growth and make lots of change, and then a challenging situation turns up and you find yourself 5 steps back. One of my really good friends, Tim, he says, I'm a fast learner and an even faster forgetter. And I think that says it so well. I learn quickly, but I forget quickly under pressure, and it's in those really tough challenges where I need to have done the work. I've had to build my muscles up so that I can use them when I need to use them. So thinking of personal development as a process of building muscle, building a skill, building new ways of being is a gradual process, and no one's going to go to the gym and do a few weights and then complain that they're not big enough. We just know it doesn't work like that. And that's the opportunity to think about personal development, is in this same way of build muscle by growing new roles, experimenting with different people I can be, spending time in silence by myself, going on meditation retreats, or going on walks, doing something that takes you outside of your comfort zone and challenges you, because in this challenge you will find things about yourself that you had no idea, and that's where the gold is. For me, I was on a 2-week walk in the desert a few years ago, and I found so many things about myself just in the walking and in silence that I could never have found with just hearing it from someone. If that's helpful, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And if you'd like to get a weekly update from me, I have a weekly email newsletter. Please sign up for that. The link is in the description. And until next time, the journey continues.